Hi, my name is Megan, and this is the Naughty Mess Knitting Podcast. Hey everybody, welcome to episode 30, I think. If you're new here, this is a knitting diary or a knitting podcast where I talk all about the things I've finished, the things I'm working on, plans for the future, buying yarn. Hopefully not, as much this year, but I have a funny thing to tell you at the end. Books I'm reading, actually, that's an extra segment I always do. Spinning, and I am gonna go through some more free patterns this week. So that's what we're doing. That's what we're here for. Strap in, get comfortable, grab something yummy to drink. Today I have water. Mike keeps giving me grief that I'm not drinking enough water, which I keep telling him coffee counts, but he says that's not true, which is also something I used to tell him that it didn't count. So I guess here's me and water. But let's get right into the episode. So I am wearing my Duotone. I don't have a finished object this week. I don't have anything new to wear, but I haven't worn this one in a couple months, and I felt like it's Saturday, the 2nd of March, and it feels like a cozy day. It's actually medium nice here in Seattle. It's kind of sunny, like the sun keeps going behind the clouds, but it's still there. It's bright-ish. We took a walk with baby and dog before lunch, and yeah, that was kind of cold, but also like this is just, it still feels like Saturday, and cozy things are required. So let me tell you all about it. This is the Duotone by Rachel Costello from Rachel Costello Knitwear. This I did as a test knit last year, finished like the last day of 2023. This is a drop shoulder crew neck, two yarns held together. So this is a fluff plus a fingering. The fingering then is carried, is just your collar, all your finishers. And this is an I-cord, and it's a true I-cord in the pattern. So that's pretty fun. It's also on the back, and it is down the sleeves. I love that sleeve line. Like, that's so fun. This was a really fun knit. I'll tell you about it in a second, but let me tell you the details. So this is a size 5. It's 54 inches. And I think, like, doing my test, I probably measured. I have just like my old notes here. I think it was pretty close to that. It is recommended 6 1/4 to 11 3/4 positive inches of ease. It is made with a 4.5 millimeter needle for the body, 4 millimeter needles for the ribbing. I made this out of ZZ Textiles yarn. And so this is a Rachel and Rach knit. Rach from ZZ Textiles helped me pick colors. This was like we got discounts, tester discount to buy, but this is ink is the purpley blue color, and then leather is the green color, and the leather is like a little bit more tonal, like it has a little bit of color change. You can kind of tell, like in the middle there's like these like little bits of like almost yellowier color that's like, a little lighter. Anyway, here it is in all its glory. I will maybe have already put a picture of myself wearing it, because I have like the pictures I took for Instagram. Not new, but super cozy. Like, the drape is great. This is like such a sweatshirt feel. I kind of want another one, like also in Surrey, because this feels like it's just so comfy. It's the most comfortable thing to wear. Okay, there's that. Now let's go right along. Oh, what I will say is, in case you're new here and you didn't hear me talk about this make, I highly recommend this pattern. Not only because I had a great experience testing it, but it's a really nice fit drop shoulder, as in the drop is very much thoughtfully placed for all the sizes, so it doesn't like start to shrink up on the larger sizes. It really is consistent. She also, like, the details are really great in this. This is fun because this is faux ribbing, so I like did something new, which basically means it's like a bajillion I cords next to each other. It's very strange. And you start with a provisional cast on, so you can lengthen your body, and because it is bottom up, and like that was so fun. It had a lot of great details in here. I know I say this sometimes, like, I don't always want patterns that have like a ton of walkthrough, because it's just a lot I have to like move through on my phone or my iPad that I'm do patterns on. But when you're learning something new, I think this one had a lot of really great details, and she still kept the instructions pretty condensed. So for me, it was a good pattern reading experience as well as pattern making experience, and I love the finished object. So it's like checks all the boxes. Okay. So let's chat about whips. I went whip crazy this week. I just cast on, well, we'll talk about it. Things. But I did real work on 2 of my projects. Yeah, the other ones I'm still going to talk about them because I don't have a lot that are existing. So let's go through the Calm Down cardigan first. We're just going to keep this, it's the order of my Monday board, you know, that I keep all these Monday boards of things. This Monday board is my active projects board, or it's just my project tracker board. And I have them right now just listed in cast on order. And so that's what we'll talk about them in that order. Gosh, English language. Okay. Woo. Uh-oh, dropped a stitch stopper. So this is my Calm Down cardigan, which is a pattern by Lily Kate France. Her Instagram is Lily Kate Makes. It is a top-down saddle shoulder construction cardigan. It's DK weight. It's kind of a dense fabric. Charlotte made hers with fingering and mohair, and you know that's gonna create like something a little bit fluffier. Hers definitely looks drapier. Like mine is gonna be kind of structured. I am using 2 strands of fingering held together for my woolly knit cones, but let's look at it. Uh-oh, I'm real attached here. I don't have any slack. The cones are not cooperating right now. See, this is what's annoying about them sometimes. Okay, here we are. Here it is. Look at it. I finished let me pull it out here. All of the button band. I told you English is hard today. Here it is. And I did actually sew on the ends. They're all still there. I didn't cut any of them, but I sewed in all of the ends except for the underarms. These button bands are really pretty. Oh, look at all that winter hair. Here, let me get the excess yarn out of the way so you can see it. They're done. So this is a double knit button band, like applied. So you pick up all the stitches, then you knit your double knit, and knit 2 together when you get to the end of every other row. So when you do these, you split. There are a couple people have done this. Like I think this is also how the Crayabea did her buttonholes, though that was a sewn on button band. But yeah, so you create it. And it's just like, it looks super smooth. It looks super nice. It's going to be for, kind of large buttons. I have to pick some out. It looks a little bit like wonky, but I think it just needs to be blocked. There are short rows in the several places. So it lays like really nice along the neck. The V, this is a V neck, so it like lays nice along the V. And there is a little, I can't show you because it's just not blocked, and it's not gonna like really, I don't think you're gonna see it as much, but there is like a little cut out. You can kind of see it there. It goes whoop. So yes, here it is. And then last night we did a knit call. This is a knit with friends. And we are knitting all of my knitting group here in Seattle, plus our friends in the Bay Area. And when we got on a call last night, and I picked up sleeve and knit the entire shoulder, the entire cap. So this is all my short rows, and I like did 2 or 3 rows in the round then last night, and then I put it down. This will be a desk thing for me this week, probably, to work on this sleeve. It's only like stockinette in the round thing I have right now that's really just going to be stockinette. So that's pretty good. I like it. This color is, I can't wait to wear it. So I'm like really excited. I'm excited for it to block out. The thing I don't love is I did my combination knit on the ribbing at the bottom, and it just looks really sloppy. Just because of the way that those like twisted stitches are. I'm going to play with it a little bit and like maybe steam it and really manipulate it to see if I can like pull them to be a little bit more even on both sides. They're just like, they look like zaggy. It happens sometimes with the combination rib when you do it flat because it's like best in the round, but I just was feeling really lazy and I didn't want to regular knit. That's what happens when you're lazy. That's okay. It's all the way at the bottom for me, so whatever. Okay, next thing to talk about. Oh, sorry. Details on sizing for that real quick is that it is a size 4. It's 51.5 inches. Recommended ease is 10 to 12 positive inches. Not doing that much. 4mm needles for the body, 3.75 for the ribbing, 3.5 for the button band. I really did do all of those, and that's the recommended sizes too. Then it's that woolly knit cone, which is in the color Bias, which is the merino, some merino, not the British wool. And it is 100% merino, non-superwash. Held double, it's 257 yards for 100 grams. I enjoy it. I'm still enjoying knitting with the cones. They are a little bit annoying, just because they're a giant thing. Less ends to weave in though, which like this is the minimum number of ends for this project, and there's still a lot of ends, right? Because you're picking up every place. Oh, one thing I did want to point out, and I will talk about this when I get to the end of it, the fit. But one thing that I changed already, and it's the only thing I've changed so far, is that the button band is that you pick up with a long tail and then you just cast on, like using a cable cast on, I think. And it doesn't look the same as your sewn bind off. And that's right next to it in the ribbing. And yes, ribbing and button bands look different because this is a double knit. So it's a lot like denser than a ribbing, but they're still right next to each other. And I just didn't want that. And in other people's finished ones, like it's not super noticeable, but it just, there's so many great finishing touches to this. I feel like that's almost a letdown, that there's just this one thing that you could have done and it's not that hard to do. So I did a tubular cast on for my button band. I picked up and then I just cut my yarn and then I did a tubular cast on. And it like, it's seamless. Like this is the back side of it, but like, look at that. Then you go from whoop, sewn bind off to tubular, and they both just like look so nice. And then I did a tubular cast, like a sewn bind off or whatever on the other side, and it looks great. So that's all. Okay. Oh, I do have a finished object. I totally like, sort of finished object. Finished yarn. I have finished yarn. So I told you last week I was doing that Busy Bee Fibres merino, and this is like the gray blend, and I didn't bring it down. I showed it at one point when I got my wheel. I think I showed it, but it looks like this, although this one is the one I'm going to do next. This is also a merino, and this is like the like gray brown blend. You can see it's kind of shiny, but you can see it's just blended. So I'm not going to do anything special to this. I'll just split it and go. And this is my finished skein. This is washed. It's thwacked. It's all the things. There we go. It's pretty. This one turned out really nice. This is my first merino spin. I'm really liking, I really like what was made, you know, how it came out. It's a little, I mean, I'm still not great. I'm not super great at consistency. I mean, it's dramatically better than my first two skeins or whatever that were just like, I mean, thick and thin in a real way. This is still like, it's not super awesome, but it definitely looks like yarn. I think it's going to knit up really beautifully. And I'm contemplating using this plus the gray blend for a Traveler cowl for the Spin It to knit along with Andrea Mowry for all her Traveler projects. I talked about this last week, and here's the update, is that like I actually looked at it and it starts yesterday, but it goes all the way until the end of February 2025. So it's a whole year. I think that's right. Something like that. So a whole year. Ariel and I were talking last night, and I was like, ooh, maybe I want to make a Traveler hoodie. That's one that's been on my list of things to do. I have some yarn for it, and she was like, oh, me too. So I think that's going to be like summer to fall knit, like a transitional knit. I'm not going to do it right now. I don't need to. I'm not feeling pressed. But then also we'll see how this fiber comes out and like what it knits up like. And maybe that's what I'll use for a Traveler shawl. Maybe I'll use something else. I think it'll be really nice for that because it's merino and it's really soft. It definitely feels very soft. I'm going to compare it to something. You can't do this because you're not here, so I'm sorry about it. But I will feel it for you. This is my... if you remember, this is a Falkland spin that I did several months ago at this point. Similar-ish weight. This is a little bit thinner. Yeah, I don't know. This is definitely softer. I mean, 100% softer. They both still feel nice. There's something about this that even... okay, so like if you feel along any parts of this that are like not bloomed, but like a little bit bloomed, it feels not prickly, but it's not like, this is downy. You know, if I like rub my hand along this, like it feels like cashmere. It feels so soft. This just feels like wool, like a woolly yarn. Not really toothy, but like maybe a little bit. Anyway, I don't even know. Like, I don't know if I would consider this like a lot of improvement over. They look pretty similar, honestly. It was a really different spin experience because this, I thought I was nervous. I thought that it would like, you know, run away from me a lot or something while I was drafting, but it was actually like pretty easy. And I was trying to focus on spinning a little more. I'm getting to this point where I'm like, okay, the Rambouillet that I spun was almost underspun and underplied. And I wanted it to kind of be a lofty yarn, but this, I was like, okay, can I do like a more, like a sport weight that is pretty pretty spun and plied, but not overly spun and plied. There's like one or two visible pigtails I can see, but for the most part, it's really not. Like it washed out pretty well. It looks pretty smooth. Yeah, I don't know. Those are thoughts about it. I don't know the yardage on it yet. I didn't measure that. I'll count it later and weigh it, but it was a surprisingly nice thing to transition into. I was not, I was so nervous for the Rambouillet and I was so nervous for the merino, and both of them ended up being okay. Like, I think that my hands can like adjust, my brain can adjust a little bit to what's going on for staple length and stickiness. And so I feel like I need to go back to like a BFL or a Falkland and do another spin, just like so I can be able to adjust to both. I don't get stuck in something that's like, oh, the super softest land, because I want to be able to spin whatever. Anyway, that was the finished object interrupting my whips. Okay, so back to the whips. I have my Instant Crush pullover, which is my knit along. This is a pattern by Hohi Locatelli, who is Hohi Locat on Instagram. I am hosting a knit along. We're mostly just chatting with each other on the gram. And I have to say, I've been pretty bad. I didn't put like any progress pics in, but I really did not pick this up just once this week, and I didn't even knit on it that long. So I added like 6 rows to the body. I have a good like 4 inches now in the body, and that is feeling good. I do think I will I have to just decide this week. I'm either going to power through like 30 rows and do most of the body and then pick up the sleeves, or I need to just cut strands and go to the sleeves now. Like I have to just decide once I pick it up. Maybe I'll knit on this today to just get a bunch of progress, but I'm really loving it. I love the charts. I love everything about it. It looks so itty bitty, but it does fit me. I did put it on. Let me remind you sizes. I'm making a size 6, which is 47¼ inches. The recommended ease is like 0. I am using 4mm needles for the body. I used 3 for the neck ribbing, so that's what I'll also use for cuffs and hem. For the hem, actually, because I don't want it to tuck in very much, I might use a 3.5, because that's kind of a big jump. We'll see. And then I am using Surrey lace from Backloop Yarn Co. in the colors Frost, Tia Beanie, Goldenrod, and Nordic, and that is 74% baby steri alpaca, 26% silk, 328 yards for 50 grams. And I'm like really excited. I love it. It's so soft. Yeah, I got excited about other things this week. So like this, I knit a little bit on Sunday and then I just put it down and I didn't pick it up again. Okay. What's next? The clay sweater. So here's my clay. This is a gift knit for my sister-in-law, Carissa. She's, the loveliest human. I am gift knitting for both of my sister-in-laws. I have something to share about that too after I talk about this one. So, it's so neon. This is the clay sweater by Ozetta. So, if you look at it, it's basically a drop shoulder, garter stripe. That's what we'll call it. I mean, it's a textured knit all over. It's made with DK yarn. It's very drapey. It's going to be so cute on her. It's been a pretty enjoyable experience. Here's the back, which I think is like a part that's got a good pattern cuteness. So this will sit as kind of where the shoulder will sit, and this sits along your back. I really want to pick up the neckline next. So here's my plan. I am very nearly done the ball of yarn that's connected in the body right now. I have 2 balls connected, you're correct. One of them is at the bottom of a sleeve though, and because of the way you pick up drop shoulder, I was like, I'm just going to pick up that sleeve first. So before I pick up the sleeve though, I would like to connect my 4th ball of yarn, which I need to wind. They're upstairs waiting for me. And I would like to do the neckline and then cut that, pick up the sleeve with the yarn that's connected, and do the sleeve with the extra from that 4th ball of yarn. I think that's what I would like to do. And then work on the other sleeve. So I will put myself on Sleeve Island for this. Now I have about, probably pretty similar to the Instant Crush right now in body length. I did put a real pretty stitch marker on this time. I went in the thing and I found one that's cute. This is my flock stitch marker from Hello Lavender from last year. And so I didn't show you my Instant Crush, but you can believe me, it's like 6 rows I added. Anyway, so I added a full pattern repeat, almost a second, in the body. So that's pretty good. I felt like I knit on this very intermittent. Like I kept picking it up and knitting like 2 rows and then putting it down, which is not really great. These rows feel kind of long on the purl side because obviously I'm purling like 230 stitches or whatever. It does have this nice little seamed detail down the side, and you're essentially creating an I-cord down the side. It's just a 2-stitch I-cord. And I'm pretty sure it just stays. Like, I don't know if you match a stitch on the inside or anything to like make it be a pseudo seam. I think it's just being a pseudo seam like this. I'm not really sure why, but it looks cute. I'm progressing. I'm really enjoying the knit. It's just like that, it's that little bit of like the purl rows, you do this gartery section of the 3 in succession, and it's kind of, but then the stockinette section flies by. So like, it's a good mind trick. Anyway, here's the news. So my other sister-in-law, and I think I said this like pretty early in the year, I don't generally buy patterns that are not size inclusive. My sister-in-law picked out a pattern because she's got a thing where she doesn't like things, she gets migraines, so she doesn't like clothes to touch the back of her neck. That's a very specific thing to look for, and like it's not an easy thing to search for on Ravelry. Like you can do that in stores a little bit. You can like just, you know, look to see styles that have like a scoop, more of a scoop in the back of the neck. I could certainly change some patterns to do that, but I don't know how good the fit would be, right? And she's not here, so I can't, I mean, they live close by, but like she's not here frequently enough during the construction that I'd feel comfortable making sure that it was enough of a scoop, you know, all these things. I'm not a designer. I can certainly do some modifications for myself, but again, like I can try it on and rip it out and whatever if I want to, but it's harder to do for her. So she picked out the Camille sweater from Joanna, Colibri by Joanna. I'm not even gonna post a picture on here. You can look it up if you want to, but she is like a very non-size inclusive designer. I also went through the pattern things, as I said I do before I buy, and I was like looking, because I was like, oh, I should maybe get this yarn now, and I was looking through, and I was feeling very skeptical from notes and other things, and so I'm very much like, I don't want to support a designer that's not size inclusive. I now feel skeptical that this will even fit her. I'm not going to invest all the time it's going to take to make this for it to be like real crap. And then she's not going to tell me anyway, because she's too nice. So I was like, you know what? We're going to just refresh this. So I sent her a note and I said, hey, I'm just feeling this way about this pattern. And I'm like afraid it's not going to fit you. So can I send you some other options? And she was like, yeah, of course. So, and we had picked them like relatively quickly. Like I didn't send them a bunch of options before. We were all together right after Christmas. This is their Christmas present. This for 2023, but whatever. It was just the making of. But we just like picked them all out together like pretty quickly. So I didn't do tons and tons of searching because I didn't know what their parameters were beforehand. Okay, so I went back through Ravelry, as I want to do because I'm always on Ravelry. I found a few, like 5. I think I sent her like 5 different things, and she picked an Andrea Mowry pattern, which is the Daydreamer. I'll post a picture here. It is a it's a V-neck, actually, front V-neck, bobble, traveling stitches. I don't know what you call them. They're not really cables. Maybe there's some actual cables, and it's like a honeycomb design on the sides. Okay, very cute. And Andrea Mowry she's wearing it both front and back. So it is a V-neck, but she wears it in the back. It's very cute. It sits nicely in a couple of pictures where it's in the front. I'll put those pictures here. That's what hopefully I have done this. I sent those to her, and that is one she picked. It's probably the most work of the ones I sent her, but also I really want to make this pattern. So like I didn't send her anything I wouldn't want to make. And I have like, it's not really my style, so I don't know that I would want to wear it, but I like it a lot. So I was like, if you want to wear it, I support this fully. And so, yeah. And having like the design is on the front and the back, and then the sleeves are pretty much just stockinette. So with like a little thing on the top. So I'm pretty excited. I'm just letting you know that's coming. But I feel much better about picking something that for a designer I want to support. And, we're keeping the same colors that she wanted before. And so, yeah, it's just a slightly different thing. Plus I think she'll get more wear out of it because it's just a little bit more functional. So let's talk about my small fry. This is a test for Samantha Guerin, who is Samantha Guerin Design on Instagram. This is called the small fry. I am so close to being done the increases. Like I think I have one more full repeat and a couple rows left in the last one. Maybe just one full repeat. I don't know. And so like this is about as much as it's going to be. Like I increase 1 stitch. It's called the small fry. It is definitely not, it's not a wide scarf. I'll block it to be a little bit more open. But it's great. So here is, I tried this on for knit night last night, and I was like, look, it's so tiny. So it'll be double this. So you'll really be able to wrap it fully around your neck and do like a little tie, which is what Samantha Guerin is like wearing when she's wearing it. You could also probably like loop it and, pull through a little bit. Like it's going to be Sophie scarf-esque, a little bit longer. I think that's what it is. I went back through my notes for this yarn, and I do think this is a Woolberry like partial skein. It was most of a skein. It's like 95 grams. I don't know what the color is, so if you know, let me know. but it's super pretty. The slip stitch design is really coming in. I mean, I think last week I have like a dumb stitch marker in here, or progress keeper. It's just a little guy. I was only like here last week. The reason also I don't have a very cute stitch marker is because how this has been sitting at my desk is like this, because I have been using this as my desk project, though I probably will take this one upstairs to get some more done. This test knit is due the 24th or something like that. My plan is to be done with it like maybe next week, the week, like middle of the week after. So I'm about a week early, if not a little bit more. Just because because I have other things to tell you about. That's why. So I have been like just using 2 little pins and pinning this up and like continuing to roll as I go, so that I only have this like little part here and it's not just like swooping all over the place. So it's been a little croissant at my desk. But yeah, I'm enjoying it. I think that it's a really, it's a very relaxing knit because it's pretty mindless. You know, you have to keep track of how many rows before you do your increase, which I'm gonna have to do for the decrease too. I am feeling a lot more comfortable in the pattern. I'm able to read from my increase, so I don't really have to track. And like, it's nice because the purl side's always the same. The knit is what changes over the length of the full repeat. Oh, duh, sorry. It's not going to increase 1 stitch. It'll increase like 5, but it's also, I mean, like it's going to get like this time, like this much bigger. Like it's barely going to get bigger. Anyway, I'm like really excited. I think it'll look really cute. I think it'll be fun to see what it looks like with this really long triangle, right? Because it will decrease, but it's going to be so gradual. Okay. That's the small fry. There's no size for that. It is made with 3.25 millimeter needles. It is, oh, I didn't tell you anything about the clay. The clay is a size large. I will have already, I'm going to just put those notes in earlier. So hopefully you'll have seen them. If you have questions, let me know. And I have been very good this year. All of my projects are up in Ravelry. Everything that is started on my needles is in there. So if you have questions, I'm like trying to make sure when I open them, as far as I know, right, like the needle size is added, the yarn, if I know what it is added, even if there's not like a how much I used. And I started my color in of my flat lay, which includes my whips. So there's so many things. I mean, like the whips that were in the flat lay. When I finish a project, I'm coloring them in. And so I'm going to do a little like, yeah, well, I'll show you what it looks like in the end of the quarter. That's why I think I'm going to commit to the end of the quarter 3 times and then the end of the year, and you'll see what the flat lay looks like. And no, it's not going to show the addition of any yarn. Because that'd be cray. But anyway, and that was in Backloop Yarn Co. Flamingo DK. So let's go through my, so the small fry scarf. I interrupted myself. I already told you all the things. It's a heavier fingering weight yarn, unknown origins. I think it's berry sock, so I think it's an 80/20 merino nylon, 400 yards, 400 grams. That's what I think it is. So, okay, here's my next thing. Okay. I have been making baby blankets for many, many years. Since my first friends started having babies right out of college. Not many. It was like a couple babies and then a couple of years and then all the other babies. But I made them for my coworkers. I worked at a very small company for a long time. I made them for, you know, any of Mike's family that has had kids since I have been part of the family. So everybody gets a baby blanket. We're having another rash of babies like this. You guys, I was so busy making baby blankets during the pandemic. Like, I'm not kidding you, because everybody was stuck at home making babies. But I started really getting into sweater making last year. As you know, I think I made 2 blankets last year, maybe 3, 3 for sure. But I got distracted and I never made one of my very favorite cousins. He's a gem of a human. His wife is also so nice. She's also the only other Megan in the family. Like, I'm just, you know, I gotta just do this. They had a beautiful baby girl last May, and I never made her baby blanket. They did pick out a baby blanket for me to make, and that was also part of it, is that I just like, I got a little daunted, not even because it's so hard, but because I was like really uncertain about what yarn to use, and it's written for fingering weight yarn, and I was like, not gonna do that. Or I guess it's like sport weight, but still, it's like, it's the sport weight that's fingering weight, you know how that is. Anyway, I wanted to make this scrappy. I wanted to use worsted. I was like, is this going to be a lot of math? And then I just ran out of steam. So I have all this yarn that I had like put aside, like a worsted acrylic, and for the colors I wanted to use, and then I just never made it. But before her first birthday, this baby will have this blanket. So that is what I'm committing to. It is crochet, and I think I've shared this before. I kind of ran out of steam on crochet. Also, the last crochet thing I did was like, it was just a really boring blanket. Like, it was not an exciting knit. And yeah, I didn't love the colors. So I'm taking back crochet, guys. I'm falling back in love with it. So let me tell you the pattern first, and I'll pop a picture up. This is called the Flower Vortex blanket. I mean, it's just called Flower Vortex, I think, but by Sanita Brenson. I think this may be her only pattern on Ravelry, but it is very cute. She made it with a color changing yarn, which would have been a good idea. I could not commit to a color in this yarn, which you can get on Etsy. And so then I never bought it. And it's like, you guys, it really was like, it was a rabbit hole of decision making, indecision. So I have all these fun summer, spring, whatever knits that I want to do. And not that I'm like forcing myself to do something I don't want, but I'm like, I really like, this is a form of love for me. I really do want to, you know, take back gift knitting this year. And not because I feel obligated. I just do. I love to do it. Gifts are one of my love languages. And I have made myself a lot of love, you know, a lot of gifts for myself in the last year. I'm going to continue doing that. I don't think you should really label it selfish knitting. This is your hobby. You can do whatever you want with it. You never have to knit or crochet or anything for anyone else ever, and never feel bad about it. Just do what you want. And it's not even because I've made all the ones that I'm going to make for them. I was just like, I needed to pull myself out of indecision and just get back into it. Plus, I've been watching Ariel's podcast, and she picked crochet back up, and we are kind of in the same boat where both of us do crochet projects, just like knit garments more. And so like sometimes crochet seems like just, it takes a back burner, right? I do love crochet baby blankets for the most part. The last one I picked was just not a good one. I just picked a bad one. So this is really fun though. I will say this is a very fun project now that I have made 2. I didn't bring the second one down because it's still connected to yarn upstairs in like this whole pile of craziness. But I will show you the first one. So Flower Vortex. And I'm doing the scrappy style, so it's not got the color changing like the picture. But here's my first crochet flower. These are sport weight, so I'm pretty sure they're supposed to be like this big and look very delicate and cute, and you connect them however. And this is, you know, a monster. It's like 5 inches across. It's huge. That's my whole hand. All my ends are connected. So I'm going to do a couple of things to make this enjoyable for me. So what I'm going to do, my plan is to do about 1 a night to just really get it done. It's still going to take me more than a month and a half, I think. That was my math for how big these are. But I also can make this whatever size I want. Since she's 1 now, she's probably still in a crib. She's not going to be in her big girl bed for like another year. I don't necessarily, like, this is not a crib blanket though. So I think this would be a cute thing that would like lay at the end of her bed, or for her to play with when she's like playing with her dolls and other things when she's a little older. So I'm going to make it slightly bigger than crib size. We'll kind of see how I feel about it, but is a connect as you go. So this is my very first anchoring piece, and then I can decide how to connect. I could connect all around it. I could connect and start, you know, building a square. We'll see. So this is the only one that will have the fully finished border, and the other ones you do all the way to the gray part, which is where the other one is right now. And then you do as like 1 or 2 edges connect and then do the rest of your edges. Anyway, I've done a lot of connect as you go or join as you go crochet things, and I love that method, and it just makes it a lot more enjoyable than sewing down. I will be doing, I have not decided exactly what I'm going to do for colors. The other flower that is done looks completely different. It's mostly blue. The colors are going to be pink, blue, and purple for the most part on the middle. Not all of them will be like yellow middles. I might do 1 or 2 yellow flowers. We'll see. We'll see how I feel about it. I think I'll just be doing whatever feels good. I am also going to play with the colors in the rounds. I might have a couple that are like really densely all the same color through this, even these long stitches. And then these are called spike stitches. And then I might have some that like this color is the same as this outside. I don't know. We're going to see. It's kind of a fun thing to play with. And I think for a while that was making me feel irrationally nervous because I like to plan out. I make hippos in a very similar motif. This is sort of like an African flower. That's the motif for the hippos. And I plan out the hippos. Like, I'm so crazy about it. I plan out the colors for all the sizes, and like, it's insane. I don't need to do that. It's fine. They all look great when they're joined. So that is something I did cast on. The next thing I cast on is also a crochet blanket. Yeah, I am going to do 2 at once. So I have 2 wonderful friends who are pregnant. One of them with her second baby, and that's the one we're going to talk about now. And another one, which I picked out the colors, and I will cast on as soon as I'm done this one. This friend, she doesn't watch my podcast, so I think it's fine to say this. She is coming to visit at the end of the end of this month. So I'm actually hoping I could be done with it by the time she gets here. Which is a little bit crazy, but I may be able to. So this is how much I have done of this next blanket, which I'm going to tell you about in a second. No, not a lot. That's okay. This is called the baby sea turtle blanket. That's all. It's that cute. I will put a picture. This is like the only picture I could find of it. Also, it's kind of like a weird cropped thing of it. I think it's what's on the Ravelry page, but it essentially, so it's more teal in the picture, and the teal is very cute, but I asked her because I had more blue on hand, and she was like, blue is better. So this is their second baby's a boy, which so is their first. And she sent me this one after I'd made the first baby blanket. She was just like, you know, when you start looking at one crochet thing online, then your feed gets filled with them, even if you don't mean to. And I think it was like on Pinterest she was looking, and she sent me this pin, like, you know, a couple months after I made the first baby blanket for her, and she was like, for my next kid. So I put it into a Ravelry bundle because that's what you do. And I sent it back to her, and I was like, do you think this one would be good for baby number 2? And she said yes. So it looks like waves and then some sand, and then you make these little baby sea turtles, and like maybe there's a starfish or something. I can't remember. There's some other one other sea creature. And you can do as many as you want, right? Like I think there's 2 or something on the one. So cute. So I'm going to do pretty much the colors that are listed. I think I have 1 extra blue and not that much of this. So I might do like 1 or 2 less rows of this, couple extra, like to go through, but this requires less thinking because I just do it what it says, you know, 8 of this, then switch colors, whatever. Okay. Pretty easy pattern. Repeat. I will take the hook out. Oh, I'm using, I think, like a 4.5 millimeter needle for the flower Vortex. This is a 6. This is going by really fast. I love this kind of repeat too. It's like very mindless. I've been doing like 1 or 2 stripes a night. And yeah. Let's see if the ends are cute. I feel like this end is like growing somehow, and I need to like bring it back in. Lindsay's not going to care, so I'm not gonna ripping it out. That is that. The rest of this bag is literally like, here's some more blue colors. I have 1 other light blue down here that I didn't pull out yet. Here's like a medium blue. I have 2 sand colors because I don't have a lot. This might be enough, but I figured I could do like a wet sand. There's a little bit of white. I didn't pick out the baby sea turtle colors yet, but I'll get there. So, and they're kind of like actually in the flower colors because I have a bunch of greens in there, and I'll just pull those. There we go. 2 new baby blankets. I'm not really counting those as on my needles projects because they are on hooks. And also because they're actually going to go pretty quickly, and I'm definitely spending time working on them. But, yeah, I'm just not going to count them. It's fine. And I still haven't cast on another knit thing, but I will tell you what I did this week, is I signed up for another test knit. Yeah, you're right. Now I have 3, from 0 for 2 months to 3 in a week. That is correct. Your math is great. Yeah, it's a little crazy, but that's what I've done. So it's fine. It's gonna be fine. Haley sweater is not cast on yet. I will be casting it on soonish. It's the 6-month test knit, and I'm not worried about it. I don't want to wait until the end. So I will cast it on sooner rather than later, but like not this very second. This is a shorter cast on. I think I have 6 weeks for this. It's a t-shirt. And I am going to use this beautiful color, which is called Three Sisters. It is a grenouille color. It is, let me pull out the little paper. This is Grenouille Co, which if you guys don't know, they're cute little frog logo. It is, I don't know what the 4-ply sock, I think is what it's called. It's 85% superwash merino, 15% nylon, 437 yards for 100 grams. And the color is actually very reminiscent of this sweater. I don't have any t-shirts in this color. Like, seriously, look at that. They blend in together. It's, maybe that's why I want to wear this today, because I'm really like digging this color. It's this like really pretty, like light bluey green. This I would consider like a green, and this I would consider a very light tealy bluey color. But it has flecks of dark blue in it and brown. It's very cute. I don't have any t-shirts, like I said, in anything like this color. And I am making the Skyline tee by Tori Yu. Here's the only picture that's posted right now of it, which is not modeled, but it is a fingering weight version of her DK pullover. The DK pullover is fingering plus mohair or DK. I made mine in DK. I also tested that for her last year. I like the shaping on it. I really love the Skyline. I wear it all the time, so I'm sure I'm gonna like this too. I liked the making process of it too. I like the saddle shoulder construction. Like, I think it's pretty fun, and it goes pretty quickly, the top part, I think. So I'm excited. I think the gauge is gonna be very achievable with this. It's not super dense or anything, so we shall see how it goes. I'm gonna cast this on today. That's definitely what I'm gonna do. I think my plan for today is to knock out a couple of my crochet rows, a flower, cast this on, and then as soon as I'm cast this on, like, I might just do, because I think this is going to be the same as the last one where you do each of your little things and then connect the back. Like, I might just do that whole thing, which is not going to take super long, and then knit my Instant Crush. And by today, I mean late tonight, because baby will wake up in the very near future, and I am going to spend time with her. I hurt my elbow, y'all, and so I also think I need to, like, maybe not knit this afternoon and, like, heat or ice. I'll look to see what's better. It just, like my tendon hurts. I think that means ice. I need to ice it. Likely I also need to just use some melt balls. So I told you this before I put a video up not that long ago, but, like, take care of your body, stretch. Don't forget to stretch. One thing I do, and I started doing this years ago because the gym that I went to when I first moved to Seattle, it's called Community Fitness. It was all classes. One of the classes is a gal that I had like taken some dance classes with, and I think she taught yoga. She did this thing called the melt method, and the melt method is like use these little balls. I have 2 sets of them in my house. I think I have one in the office here actually. But the one I use mostly is upstairs, and it is a they are like little balls that you use as on like pressure points in your hands and your feet. But they also roll up your arms, and it's supposed to help with like blood flow and like getting rid of some excess like inflammation in your fascia. And your fascia is like the connective tissue between your muscles and your like ligaments and bones and stuff, right? So it's like it's everywhere in your body, and it can tense up just like your muscles can, you know, get pulled and stuff. Your fascia can like tense up, and it can just make it harder for your body to like keep moving the way you want it to. And it's a great way when you rehydrate your fascia. It helps like with muscle tense, when you have like muscles that are really tight. It also helps with your tendons. If you're having a little inflammation, it will help to like make them feel a little bit better. Anyway, that's a weird thing for you. Look it up if you want to. It's called the melt method. What else do I have to tell you about? So I have 2 test knits coming. If you go on my Ravelry page, they're already on there, but they don't have dates because I did not actually start them. But I'm trying to like stay ahead of this and put in like due dates and everything. So yeah. Those are projects. That was a lot of time spent talking about those things. Let's talk about books. Okay, so this week I read several things. One, I finished The City of Glass, which is the third of the first part of the Mortal Instruments. I do intend to read a good deal of the rest of that whole world by Cassandra Clare this year. I don't know if I'm going to do it like all at once. Probably not, because I've been on BookTube, like I told you guys, and I've been putting things on my TBR, and a bunch of them came in from the library, and so I'm just like, now I'm getting sucked into other series. I need to just like say no to a couple of the ones, like 2 I think are sitting right now in my queue that are like, do you want to borrow this? And you can like put yourself for later. And I'm just gonna have to put this for like 2 weeks from now. So, so I finished that one. The other thing I finished is called A Far Wilder Magic, which is a standalone novel by Allison Saft. It is a YA fantasy. It was so good. It was so good. This is about a semi-magical version of our world. Like, it's not really dystopic. It's just like there are some magical beings in a nation that's sort of like ours, but like maybe a little bit more divided. But there's a lot of like religious division, bigotry, racism, and other things happening in here that don't feel very different from reality. It's really interesting the way that she wrote that. And these mythical creatures, like there's a hunt for a mythical creature in it. So there's like a thing, there's a lot of YA books like that where there's like a single mission, a hunt, a something like that like the characters have to come together, they have to work together, they put themselves in dangerous situations, they fall in love, whatever. But I think she did a really good job. I thought she did a good job with her most of the character complexity. They both are, for really different reasons, teenagers. Like, I think the girl's supposed to be like 17 and the boy's like 18 or 19, maybe like 18. They both have like grown up a little bit fast and had a lot of tragedy, and the way that they like deal with it is so different, and it's really interesting. I thought I thought it was a good job. There's like a teeny bit of spiciness in it. It's just like so sweet. I was like kind of waiting. I feel like really, I don't even know that I was like, at the very end, I was like right toward the end, and I was like, something terrible is gonna happen right at the end. Like, no, of course not. They were just gonna like, it was gonna just be done. It was gonna be ending on a positive note, and I like could not believe that. yeah, I feel jaded. Okay. So I read that, and then I also picked up the 6th book in the Wheel of Time, which I could not even tell you what it is. Let me look it up. All right. This one's called Lord of Chaos. These names are hilarious. Lord of Chaos is number 6. It is picking up right where we left off, with all the characters and all of their shenanigans and what they're doing. And I think I probably read like a couple hours. This one is, again, like 40 hours on Audible. It's going to be taking me another couple weeks to get through. Also because I keep reading these other things. Okay, so I read one other book. And the other book I read is, I'm just now telling you what in what order I did this week. So one of the booktubers brought up Carissa Broadbent. And I've seen like the Serpent and Wings of Night or whatever. That book has been all over everywhere. And that is like her Nyaxia something series. But this booktuber said, if you've never read a Carissa Broadbent book, and yes, I recommend reading This World. I think there's like a many, maybe even some offshoots of this Nyaxia series. But she said you should read the Daughter of No Worlds is the first book. It is called, I don't know why I can't like remember, the War of Lost Hearts. That is a series. I think it's just a trilogy. And the first book is called Daughter of No Worlds, and it's so good. Okay, I read this over the last couple of days. I just picked up the second one last night, and the second one is called Children of Fallen Gods. So the first one is they're all, I think, the same characters, and it's about like the war that is happening. So it's about a girl who has some magical powers but is a slave, and about how she escapes slavery and tries to make a positive change in the world. That's really what the series is about. It's the other people she meets along the way that help her or do not help her, and how hard it is to make change when there are corrupt governments and people who are just out for power, and like just all of these things, even when you have magical powers, right? Like that's what she's up against, and it's so good. I really love the main character. I like the main dude in it. I like a lot of the sub characters. Like there's not as much. So I think the whole beginning of the first book, like 3/4 of it, is only from the main girl's perspective, and then the guy is like the last couple of chapters, or like, you know, he jumps in during the last few chapters. And then the second book, they have to go on separate missions, and so it's like from both of them, and there's like a lot of traveling back in memory, and there's some other entity that's involved. Yeah, there's a lot going on, and I'm really enjoying it. I think that the writing is interesting. The world building is good. We were talking about this on Knit Night last night too. I think like sometimes authors want to show you that the world is not this world that you're expecting, and they do too much explaining in the beginning before you're invested in the characters, and like that is hard to get through sometimes. I think that Carissa Broadbent does a really good job in that you meet Tasana. Her world doesn't seem so complex, but she talks about the greater world, right? And then when she gets there, she explains some things, but not a lot, because she doesn't really understand it all. So it's like really from her perspective. And then as she learns more and understands the power structure and the other things, you're like learning more. And then this guy's perspective, when you have that, he's got like greater understanding of some of these political struggles and other things in history, and you get that too. And so it's really interesting. I think that the magic is done pretty well. There's not too much overkill in like how it's used, and there is not a lot of explanation for some of it. It's, you know, so Oh, what I forgot to say is A Far Wilder Magic, a lot of that is about alchemy. And also alchemy, I think, is like such an interesting pseudoscience, science magic, you know? It's interesting when people write about it. One of my favorite book series is A Discovery of Witches, and that series has alchemy in it too, and I find that to be fascinating. So there we go. Okay, for my last yarn segment, I forgot to do this before books, but that's okay. I have yarn I purchased. Here's my acquisition for the week. It is a lot of yarn. I am going to just show you one skein of each of these, of 3 of each. They're all t-shirt quantities, sort of. And I so I did a sample for Horizon Fibres last year. I got paid in a gift card to her website. It was a good amount of money. It was, and Paisley was having a sale in the end of January, and I purchased also with the discount. And I did spend a little bit more, but not a lot. Most of this was covered by the gift card. So this is a color, Borealis. This is her Cumulus DK, which there's no information on here, but there is a QR code. The Cumulus DK, though, I'm pretty sure is 100% superwash merino. Might be an 80/20. I'm not really sure. It doesn't matter at this point. I'll tell you when I actually use it. And it's this really pretty color called Borealis. It's mostly teal. There's a little bit of like green in there. It's very pretty. Okay. That is the only of this other base that I got. So if you remember, what did I make with my sample? I made, oh my gosh, sorry for the crinkling. Okay. I made a, out of her color Redhead, which is like a very orangey color, I made a oolong tank, and it was in the base Stratus Fingering, which is this really gorgeous 50% alpaca, 25% silk, and 25% linen. I remember that because I wrote it down and I said it many times in a row. And I was just like waiting to pick the perfect color for me out of that base. I really waffled on this one, but you'll see this entire purchase is pretty much blue. I decided to actually get the same. So this is going to be my Salty Air Tea. And I think I have decided this color will be my Salty Air Tea. And this one is called Borealis. Yeah, you're right. I did get it on 2 bases. But it's so pretty. It's like a really, really nice teal. You know, I love teal. You can see all that like nice linen-y goodness in there. It's gonna make it look so like heathery. My other option for the Salty Air Tea is this one, which is the same base, Stratus Fingering. Dog, hush. In the color Vintage Blue, which is really gorgeous. It is this washed out, like it's a gray toned, almost like a whitish blue. I'm really excited to use this one. I actually really like that the linen looks kind of brown in this, so it's like a neutrally brown. I don't know. I could do this as my Salty Air also. There's a Tiff Nealon pattern I really like that's called like the Quill Tea maybe, and I think that's also made with linen quill, like the Pearl Soho color, but also has a linen blend, but has like a little bit of color work at the top. That would be cute with this. Actually, it'd be kind of cute with these two together. I don't know. The last one I got is actually called Buff. This is just it's cheaper than buying these. It's just an undyed version of this, and you can see that it's kind of like a yellowy, like a warmer leaning white neutral. Like this is undyed. I don't know if I'm going to maybe try to convince Ariel to dye this for me in a color that was not available on these, and something maybe a little bit like more saturated, like a really dark purple, or if I just want to use this. I am kind of leaning just using this. The drape on this is just like really incredible. So I would love to have another just tees, all the tees made out of this. But like this would be really cute for that, the quill tee. I don't know. I'm not 100% decided, but I knew I needed a tea quantity. So these are fingering weight skeins. I think they're like $4.37 for 100 grams. And so I'm going to be able to get any t-shirt I want out of them. Okie dokie. That's my acquisition. So in other yarn news, I'm going to try to get this episode up tomorrow morning. And so if you watch it right away, you'll have just hours to buy from Jess from Witchfire Fibres, Mass Made Me Cry release. I'll put a picture of like her, that one picture that has all of the colors in it. I am in analysis paralysis. I can't decide. There's so many projects. Like, I have so many projects here. I'm really excited about so many of these projects that are on this wall here that I want to make. I feel very connected to this collection, partly because I love black, gray, red. Okay. I love those colors. I don't knit with them that much. I don't have much of them here in that combination, or like just, I mean, I have like, these look gray on camera, but these are very brown, right? I don't have tons and tons of just gray yarn. Like, these are actual gray down here, or black yarn, or, you know, as I say, there's black right here. But like, these are special. I've said this even pretty recently. I really love Sarah J. Maas books. I did just read Crescent City 3. Just looking through these colors made me want to read them again. Like, I want to read ACOTAR again because of this collection drop. She picked moments, poignant moments in the book from a quote or like a moment and the quote connected to it. And there are like 2 or 3 that I was like, oh, I do remember that. I did cry actually while reading a couple of these books. So I don't know what I'm going to make yet. I have a couple of really good ideas. There's like always more patterns I've pinned than yarn that I have, even though I have so much yarn. And there's a couple that I'm like, ooh, I could do that. I could make this. I could do all these things. I'm really trying to keep it to 3 projects or less. And that could also just be a sock, because there's like one of her variegateds, which I don't want a sweater in. It's like, I just don't think I'd wear it as a sweater, but I really love the combo and I love the color name and everything. So I was like, oh, these would be fun socks. Maybe that's what I'll do. Or maybe I'll do a single skein shawl. Who knows? But I do want to have kind of projects at least in mind so that I get the right quantity. And Katie is actually assisting me as we speak. She just sent me a Discord so I sent her some many hundreds of options earlier today. It's like, I could do this, or I could do this, or I could do this. This is what happens. I think I'm the only person buying from this collection in my knit group. I have gotten Katie hooked on Sarah J. Maas books, but she's still working through Throne of Glass. If you would like to know, unsolicited, here's my opinion about reading order for Sarah J. Maas books. I read them completely out of this order, and I still had a great time. So you can do whatever you want. I think I read Crescent City because only the first one was out, and then I read, and by Crescent City I mean House of whatever the first one is. And then I read all of ACOTAR that was out. It was everything was out at that point, and then I read all of Throne of Glass. Don't do that. My suggestion, as many booktubers will also tell you, is read them Throne of Glass through, all the way through. There are 7 books. Then read ACOTAR, all 4.5 that are available now, and then read Crescent City. I do agree. And Crescent City 1, 2, and 3. Another ACOTAR book I think is coming out next year. I would say probably read what I just said and then the other ACOTAR book, right? So even if it takes you a long time to read them, don't read ACOTAR 4.5 plus 5, read Crescent City after 4. Okay, that's my opinion. You don't have to do what I say. Do whatever you want. My favorite of those series, though, I think is Crescent City. I'm not really sure why. I think I really like the other cast of characters. There's more main characters from the get-go in those books. Well, kind of. Maybe it's like all in the second book. I love the love story of ACOTAR most. Is that true? I don't know. That's so hard. That's a very hard decision. I don't know that I can make that decision. I love the world building and how she did it in Throne of Glass. And you can really see her grow as a writer in Throne of Glass too. Anywho, divergent opinions about things that are not yarn, but here we go. Okay. Let's talk about free patterns. So here's what I have to say to start with. The next category I'm going to go through, if you haven't seen last week's episode, go back and watch. I did a roundup of pullover patterns last week. I am not any better organized this week, so you're just going to hear me ramble through some of these, but I am going to go through cardigans. I have only 3 cardigans on the list that are knit. I will point out 1 or 2 crochet cardigans and only crochet things in this category. As a reminder, there are hundreds of thousands of, actually I think that's kind of true. Let's at least call it many thousands of free patterns on Ravelry. They are not all amazing. There are more amazing ones than what I have picked out. These are ones that called to me in my style of things that I would consider making, that it also felt like have good construction things in them, have good patterns for the most part from trustworthy sources. Okay, so it's like pretty specific that we're getting down to. So we talked about knitty.com last week. The first one I'm going to talk about is the Aussible. This is another pattern by Amy Christoffers in knitty.com. It is the only cardigan I think I liked on all of knitty.com. Don't take my word for that. I like skimming through them. Amy Christoffers is Savory Knitting on Instagram. We love her pressed flowers everything. Everything should be pressed flowers. And this is her pattern is no exception. It's got a really beautiful, I think I'll put the picture where you can see the back because I think that's a nice detail. Maybe I'll put both because the first picture on the Ravelry page is like the shoulder and arm and the buttons. And it's just like, it's a nice looking cardigan. Again, this is 2018. So like several years ago this came out. And for a free pattern, it's got a ton of great detail. It's made out of bulky weight yarn. This is Barocco again, because she was like the design lead there or whatever for a while. Potentially still is. I do not know. And yeah, it's just got all over texture. It just looks very nice. Yeah, top down. And I don't know that there's short row shaping, but there is like, it's got like a shawl collar. So like you do knit more rows or whatever in probably short rows inside of the ribbed collar. And yeah, it's just really cute. Okay. Next up is, the ever infamous Another Tin Can Knits, another one of their free patterns, which is called the Harvest. This is the cardigan. This cardigan, I never was really like gravitated towards it in like the main picture that it is. And I think that's kind of the choice of like the button thing that they have going on there and like the fit. But seemingly, after looking through the pattern more, it's like a super customizable, obviously, for length and other things. Like you can see even on the pictures on the Ravelry page, there's people with like really long, like duster kind of length, and then, or not quite a duster, you know, knee length cardigans, and then people with cropped cardigans and people with regular length cardigans. And so you can do whatever you want, which goes for many pattern. So this one is, I don't know what you call that, knit at the same, the collars knit at the same time. And so you like start the collar, then you do the back, and then you don't join, but you then start doing body and collar at the same time. That's got to be nice to do. Seems like it would be pretty, the construction seems nice. It also seems relatively simple. I think like just ease and other things, you know, are so adjustable. I don't know. This one has never really called to me, but it is a super simple cardigan. Like it could be great for any kind of body type. And I think it's like a little bit square because of how you do the pickup. Like it's got like, it is a square then down. That might actually be a nice fit, especially if you have broader shoulders, but that is a good one. Harvest by Tin Can Knits. Okay. And this one again, though, I think has sizes from like baby to like, you know, 5XL or whatever, which is great. The next one is called Kudzu, And Kutsu is a pattern by Marie Amelie Designs. There are a couple of patterns, free patterns from her, and this one is a circular yoke lacework top. I think it's knit top down. It's got that circular yoke fit that like maybe it's a little bit baggy in the back. I can't really tell. She's also pretty thin. And there's only like, I didn't go through all of the like project pictures, though I did see that there's plenty of finished projects for this, and it looks nice on other people. But for that kind of construction, I think it's like it's a good one to pick for a lacework one. I also like the lacework repeat. It is made with DK and lace, or you could just do DK, I think, if you hit gauge. And this one definitely has some short rows under the lace, which I also think is just like a good thing to reference, because sometimes lace work garments don't get that put in them, and that does help to raise the neckline so you don't have like a cardigan, because this one is like the kind that buttons all the way up. Anywho, there you go for your cardigans. Okay, so that's all I have for cardigans that are knit. What I will say is if you look through free cardigans on Ravelry and you don't pick knitting versus crochet, you just leave that part open. And there's plenty of more cardigans that pop up. I just don't like, I don't, there's a lot that I don't gravitate towards. There are a lot more baby cardigans also, which makes sense because cardigans are kind of easier to get on babies than like pull over your head, because babies' heads are enormous and their bodies are not. But there's a La Pouf by Beata Jessic for that is also a cardigan, and that is a perfectly fine pattern. Sure, go for it. I just like, it's really similar to the other to the pullover, so I didn't really point that out. Though I do like the shaping of it. It's more open. It's like an open cardigan, not a button one. Okay, but Jess Copham from the Make and Do crew, which is one of the first, it's like the first garment I ever made crochet, that's true, I think, was a poncho from her, and then I did 2 cardigans from her. They're all free on her blog, and she's got a ton of patterns, all crochet, and she does the hexagon construction where you make a hexagon, and then if you fold it up and it makes an L, and then you seam the back, and then you pick up and, you know, add a little to the bottom or whatever, and you seam like the back 2 squares together, and then you seam the underside of the L, and yeah, anyway, or the underside of one of the things. It makes a cardigan, and it's wild. When I was making this hexagon the first time, I was like, this is not going to turn into anything. What is happening? Even though I looked at the picture, I was like, I cannot conceptualize folding a hexagon. Doesn't make any sense. When I did it, I was like, this is so cool. So I've made 2 of those. I'll eventually wear one on a podcast in like the summer. I usually wear them over knit things. I wear them a lot in the summer. They're very holy. I mean, they're crocheted, and they're like big crochet, not tightly knit, or tightly crocheted. So those though are good patterns. I think there's several on there. I'm not gonna like even pick any out to show you pictures. I'm just talking about them. You can look through them yourself. Okay, let's move right along though, because I don't want this episode to be the longest ever, and there's things to talk about still. So let's talk about tanks and tees. Okay, I'm going to start, this is in no particular order, tank top or t-shirt. It's just going to go through how I put them on my list. So the first one that I'm going to bring up is Jessie Maid actually has a free pattern. This is, I think, maybe her only free pattern. That is a garment. Don't quote me on that. There could be more. But this one's called the Summer Secret Crop. Okay. So this is just a very simple tank top that has kind of like that top, like tight, higher top line. But she actually, the end of the pattern gives you a ton of options for your shoulders. So you can make it a halter. You can, I think maybe it's I-cords, like once you end the top piece here. It is made bottom up. But once you end the top piece here, you can make it a halter. You could make it a cross back thing. You could make it have shoulder straps. There's some pictures with people that have the back ending like kind of right at their bra line, so like mid back. Some people that it's a little bit higher the back line. So I think you could, I mean, there's tons of adjustments in here. This also has waist shaping and no waist shaping, which is a really great thing to learn from a free pattern that's bottom up if you would like to learn learn things like it's a truly fitted garment. I think there's some negative ease in it. So and of course it's size inclusive because that's Jessie Mae's thing. And it looks like a great learning project. And I think it's like one of those projects that like for a lot of sizes, you're not using a ton of yarn. Like, let me look here. It's, you can use like fingering or DK. And like most sizes, it says, I think this is probably maybe for both, but let's say it's for fingering yarn. For most sizes, you would use like under a skein. The very last two sizes, you might need, you would need a little bit more than a skein. But that's pretty great to have something in your back pocket for that really special skein. You could also do your straps a different color or your hem a different color to get away with still just one special skein and something else. So there you go, the summer secret crop. Okay, another one I'm going to talk about is the Lexi Tavel pattern. We've talked about Lexi many times over the past few weeks. She actually has a couple of tank tops I really like. I'm going to highlight this one, though I'll add a couple extra to the bundle. And because this one has been on my list for a while. And this is called the Streamline Tank. It is a DK weight tank top. And I really like, I think I like the middle piece of it. I also just, I think it's sport or it's DK weight, and like the side has a cute thing and the split hem is cute because of the way that the ribbing on the side goes. So yeah, just a relatively cute pattern. It looks pretty simple. Again, a DK weight tank top will go by pretty fast. This also has like a V in the back, so it's like very, I don't know, it just looks like it would be a nice addition to the wardrobe, especially underneath of cardigans for me. So it's one that I plan to make in the near future. This is knit bottom up. I'm not exactly sure how she handles like the bottom hem, the split, but maybe you do the front and then the back and then you join. That seems like a relatively reasonable way to do it. But yeah, I think that would also be like a good one to try. Okay, so the next one that I'm going to talk about is another Caitlin Bartold pattern. I think we talked about the Piper, I think that's hers, last week, which is a sweater. And this one is called the Simple Summer Tank. So another tank top. And it's really simple. It's got like, actually, I kind of like the straps. That's why I put this on the list because they're ribbed straps. So it's going to be a little bit thicker and then it goes into the ridge neckline. And I think that would be great for people who have to wear a bra. Welcome to the club, everybody. I like the secret summer crop. I don't wear strapless bras. Like, you are not going to catch me in one and just like hang out in a tank top. I would maybe like modify the straps on that or something to also give myself a little bit more coverage. I like the top, you know, the higher neckline of that, but like it just makes it harder. I think that's what I also picked. Some of these patterns are like a little bit more practical for people that have boobs, you know, like actual boobs. You have to put a bra on, wear something with straps. It makes your summer game so much more difficult. By the way, in case anybody who doesn't have to wear a bra is watching this and you're like, oh, I don't have that problem. Listen, it's a problem and it's annoying. So this one is nice. It's like, also it'd be nice to have a tank top like this for like under a cardigan at my desk in the summer too, where I don't feel like it's too low or, you know, it's got a big V or anything like that. So this one, it's a square neckline. It's super cute. Oh, it's top-down construction, and I'm pretty sure when I was reading through it that you do like the garter for the neckline and the back and the straps is all like one thing, and then you split and you cast off your straps, but you keep your front and back, like back on hold, start your front, whatever, and you knit till the armholes, and then you do the back, and then you join, which is also like kind of an interesting construction and a cool way to do the thicker straps in like horizontal, you know, they're in the opposite side way of, you know, you're not knitting across 5 stitches, you're knitting a big circle to start. So that I thought was pretty fun. You know, again, something like a little bit different. Those are hosted on her blog, so that's why that's free. Okay. I have another Marie Amelie design, which is the tank top, or the circular yoke cardigan I just talked about. This is called the Clark I have no idea how to pronounce that. And this is another tank top that similarly has a higher neckline, and has like, also, I mean, this really could be constructed the same way. Yeah, this is the same with the neckline that's partially bound off to create your, this is why I put them next to each other. You guys, I did this thoughtfully, and then I did this 3 weeks ago and I can't remember. But it has a similar, but like instead of the square neckline that's down here, this is like way up here, which I do really love this look. It makes it a little harder for bra straps because, like, you know, if your bra strap is sitting here, this neckline is sitting probably in here a little bit more. So I would really consider like doing a racer back. I mean, I have a racer back bra that like would pull it in a little bit more that I could wear this with. Still could wear a bra with this though, for sure. Just maybe not a regular one. But it has these very cute ties at the bottom, and you do not need to do the ties, but the ties are really cute. And so, that's pretty fun. And the ties are not I-cord. They're like real knit. So they're also kind of substantial. Anyway, it's a super cute design. I think that one is going to go in my list for eventually because I think it's pretty classic. Yeah, and really cute. And size wise, that's pretty size inclusive. So that is also positive. Okay, here is another t-shirt. Now we're into a couple t-shirt recommendations. This is another Caitlin Bartold pattern. Again, like I said, these kind of are like, there are designers that have some free blog posted patterns or whatever, and so, you know, you're gonna, the ones I like are like a lot of these sort of basic ones that I think you can use techniques across, and so that's why I picked them. So this one is called Perfect Knit T-shirt, and I do really like the shaping on this. Okay, so this is a raglan style t-shirt. It is knit flat for the first couple of rows. So like instead of doing short row shaping, you knit flat to raise the back a little bit, and then you join, and then you start your raglan. I've not done that for a t-shirt. Like have I done that without short rows then? I don't know. So it's like kind of interesting. I think that, I mean, I wonder how the fit is. It looks great on her. It looks good, really good on people who've made this pattern and have them on Ravelry. It's like very much a relaxed raglan t-shirt. I think she makes this out of like, she's one of the line brand designers. So I think she's like using comfy cotton or, you know, some cottony yarn to do this, which actually I feel like would be pretty nice. The yarn weight is DK. So like, this is just, I think it's a good one to throw in your back pocket if you want a free pattern for a t-shirt. To me, like, I would not make this over the Tolsta. I like how the Tolsta fits already. I like the gauge on that. This is a little bit denser than the Tolsta. I like the short row shaping, though. Like, there may be different things I do to the next Tolsta. I'm definitely going to do different things because I did like an eyelet Tolsta is the only one I've done. But like, I own that pattern, right? So like, if you want a free one that's kind of similar, though this one definitely, sorry, I knocked my water over. This one definitely does not have like the same collar. Like there's a bunch of things that are not the same on this. It's still like a very basic raglan t-shirt. Anyway, I think that's something great to have in your back pocket. Okay. This next one is one that I feel like is always very popular in the summer. It always comes up as a recommendation in the summer. It is a free pattern. It is pieced. So what I will say is there's two parts of this. I will put the first picture up of what the actual pattern is. This is called the Cancun Boxy Lace Top. This is a pattern that is free by E. Kate Archer. It is it's bottom up and seamed. It's very boxy fit, and it's all over lace work, like a couple of different lace patterns, actually a bunch of lace patterns. I think that's one of the things that's appealing to people, is like it's one of those like kind of sample-y looking, like it's got like a pattern, a couple rows of rib, a pattern, a couple rows of rib, and it maybe doesn't even have any repeats, or like has 3 or 4 that are repeated. Anyway, it's a really cute pattern. People don't love piecing, and also piecing lace work is annoying because like the edges are, you want to keep them thin. I've heard people find that challenging. So I'll put a link to, and I'm not going to show the picture because it's just the same thing. I'll put a link to, and I may only put this one in the bundle. There is a version, and it's, well, I guess I'll put both because it's not necessarily it's a pattern. Gosh, this is one's hard to explain. Somebody modded this to be in the round. But they were like, this is just the Cancun boxy in the round. Like, I'm not rewriting the pattern necessarily. I'm just giving you the modification for it. So I'm going to put both of them. I'll just put both of them. That's what I'll do. But yeah, check it out. I think that's like it's a really fun one. Like a cover up. You could also increase the length. This is a crop top, but like you could increase the length to be like a pool cover up or something. Like, it's just super fun. Okay, here is my last one. And there are many more than this. I will put, actually, there's a couple of Lexi Tavel ones I'll probably put in that are t-shirts too. But I figured I'd throw on another Pearl Soho pattern, which is a circular yoke. It's just called Circular Yoke Summer Shirt. And I thought that it was a good one. It has, like the way the increases are, it has that thing that like, I don't know if the increases are like a yarn over increase. It might be. I didn't look that closely, but that's why like you can see the increase lines. I don't personally really love that look, but I think this is a very classic and classy pattern. That's why I'm adding it to the bundle. So this one is made with fingering weight yarn. I also think it's, you know, we'll have a couple of weights in there. Yeah, and I just think it's like it's a pretty solid pattern. There are lots of, let's see how many. There are like 350 people have made this. I also don't really love the neckline. Like, I would add ribbing or something there because I don't like an I-cord. It's too wide for me. But I do think, like, again, you're getting a free pattern. You can add some modifications if you know what you like, and that's totally possible for you. And that's what I have to say about it. Okay, so that's my second part of the roundup. I'm actually going to do a third part that'll be very brief next week. That is shawls and a couple other accessories and things. Because I got some really great things to add, and I'm done talking for today for the most part. So I want to wrap up and have something fun to tell you. So I decided, after much deliberation and really just like trying to figure out if I could swing a day off work, I'm super busy right now. And I am. I talked to my manager and he was just like, you should take a day. Just take a day. Like, nothing's going to fall apart. It's fine. Take a day off. So I'm taking Friday off next week, and I am joining the Knit Girls and going down to Rose City Yarn Crawl. We are just doing a single night overnight. We are going to the EKF pop-up at Naughty Lamb. And that's the whole of the plan right now. We're considering and talking about going to one or two other yarn stores also on Friday. I don't think we'll make it down there very early on. We got like a single night Airbnb, and so we won't get there super early on Thursday, but like maybe if there's time we'll pop somewhere, but I think we'll probably after the drive just want to grab dinner and knit. Weird. We'd want to go sit and knit somewhere. But yeah, we're going to do EKF, grab, I think Iceland yarn's going to be there, a couple of the monochrome colors, as in like the brights, the summery colors. I think Naughty Lamb is even going to have like another featured dyer there that same day. Plus they have Lamb. What is her brand called? Where is it? I have one skein that I got, Lamb Good Fibres. The owner of Naughty Lamb dyes yarn, and this is her label, which, like, how cute is that? I got this at Flock. But yeah, so I think there's gonna be some of that I saw on Instagram. Anyway, I've never been to any yarn stores in Portland. Actually, I've been to Yarnia, but I didn't buy any yarn, and that was like a decade ago. So we're not going to visit all of them, but I love to buy some tax-free yarn. That sounds great. And I really do love the Iceland colors, and I didn't buy them last year. I didn't do a box. And there's like a lot of blues. It's blue heavy, so maybe I could be convinced to get a little yarn. I'm not going to buy yarn though. I am going to hang out with my knitting friends and not work. That is why I'm going. It's a long drive to hang out with knitting friends, but also that's part of the fun. And yeah, I'm just like really excited to have a yarn focused weekend. And the weekend after that, actually, Allie and Darren are coming up to Seattle and doing a pop-up at La Mercerie, and we are also going to that. So there's gonna be a lot of EKF in the future for me, which is also why I'm not gonna like, I'm a little more invested in some of the Seattle colors. There are a couple of colors, like I've only gotten Pike Place out of the whole Seattle collection, which I have now completed my Pike Place garment, and I maybe want another sweater. There are some really good colors, and those places are all meaningful to me because they're right here and I can go visit them, and that's so nice. So I don't know what I'll buy. I have no plans right now. And that's like, and Witchfire Fibres is like eating my soul. I can't think about anything else because I'm just like so excited about buying something from this collection. If I panic at last minute and I can't decide, I'm just going to buy the full mini skein set and figure it out later because I just want all of those colors. No, I'm going to pick at least one project, between 1 and 3 projects. Okay, that's all for me this week. I hope you are liking these roundups. I mean, there's other things I could be talking about. If you have other topics or things you want me to talk about, let me know in the comments always, ever. If you're just, even if it's totally just something going on in your brain, if you feel more comfortable sending me an Instagram message, please also do that. I've had people bring up, like, this idea came up because somebody messaged me on Instagram, and that's, that's great. I love more ideas of things to talk about. I could talk about yarn things forever, obviously. Yeah, but if you ever want anything else, if you're curious about like different content, I don't know how many of you spin. I could do some more spinning content. Ariel's doing some more spinning content this year, and that sounds fun. I don't spin in a cute place. Like, I spin sitting on my couch. So I feel like I would need to like do a whole setup, and that feels like a lot, but also it's so soothing to watch somebody like spin, just as soothing as watching somebody knit. And I will just like watch other people do this. And I'm not an expert at spinning, but you could go along on a travel with me if you wanted to. I've never done I haven't really done other content at all on YouTube. So like, I haven't done some people do like a knit with me weekend. Again, I don't knit in a cute place. My life is chaos. Like, this looks like nice and organized. The rest of my house is like baby chaos. I'm getting interrupted all the time. I don't actually sit and knit for a really long time other than at night, and I don't want to film in the dark because my husband would be like so annoyed at me if I was filming on the couch all weekend. I don't know. I could do more like all the construction, talk about one make. I don't know. I don't have any real ideas. If you guys have ideas or have questions or you want to talk about things, like, one thing I know, there's not a ton of YouTube content on Portuguese knitting, and I do Portuguese purl. Like, even last night I was purling the short rows on my sleeve, and I tried the first couple rows. I just like did a normal purl with my continental knit, and I hate doing it. It makes me so annoyed. So, and I didn't have a pin on, so I'm just like wrapping it around my neck Peruvian style. I just like pull the neck around, purl my row, take it off, knit my row like a normal person. Yeah. Anyway, I'd be happy to talk more about how I do that, but it's like it's a whole thing. I'm again not an expert in that, and I do not Portuguese knit. I only Portuguese purl, and it's really because of my tension and to save my hands. So let me know. Tell me what you were working on. Last week, I think I only got like 2 comments on what people were working on. You guys are knitting probably while you're watching this. And if you're not knitting, what else are you doing? I want to know. When are people watching podcasts? Also, if you guys are on the D-Stash Discord, there have just over the last day, someone asked a question for new podcasts, and there have been like a ton added in there. So if you need some great podcast content, and you don't know who else to watch, I would say go check that thread out, because I never heard of some of those, and I put them on my list to at least try an episode or 2. Okay, that's all for me this week. Thanks for hanging out. I would love to hear from you. And yeah, just keep the conversation going below. Reach out to me on Instagram. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Like this video. That just gives me fuzzy feelings for the week. And put that little notification bell if you want to hear about my next episodes. I almost always publish sometime during the weekend. Next weekend I will be gone until Friday, but I'll film normally and you will hear all about Portland then. If you're going to Portland and you want to let me know though, comment below and I will try to say hi. I will talk to you all next weekend. Thank you. Bye.